Hey everybody, there's a new company getting into the powersports game, but it is a brand that you've probably heard of. Meet the all-new Segway powersports lineup. Yes, when I say Segway, I mean the company that makes these things. Of course, Segway is famous for these scooters, but now the brand is branching out and getting into power sports, revealing a brand new ATV and two different side-by-sides, a utility-focused unit and a sport unit. Before we get into detail on all three of these, let me first tell you the high point, and the biggest headline here is a hybrid powertrain option for each one of these vehicles. All-electric off-road vehicles have been discussed a lot lately, but no one has really talked about a hybrid setup, and that is something that Segway is bringing into the market. And what's even better than that, the hybrid powertrain option in every single case is the most powerful option. So Segway is using that electrification not only for fuel efficiency, but also for maximum fun. So now let's break down all three, and we'll start with the most exciting machine. This is the Segway Villain. The new Villain is aimed squarely at the sport side-by-side segment, and it comes with the numbers to match. It offers two different powertrain options, both of which use a 1000cc 4-stroke twin-cylinder dual overhead cam engine. The gas-only option produces 107 horsepower and 72 pound-feet of torque, while adding the hybrid powertrain pumps up that power to 181 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. Of course, because of that hybrid powertrain, the two different models are going to weigh a different amount. So the Villain 1000SH, which is the hybrid, comes in with a dry weight of 1,936 pounds, while the Villain 1000SF, that is the gas-powered model, it weighs 1,694 pounds. Overall dimensions on these units come in at 131 inches long and 66.5 inches tall. Now the width can actually change. There's two different widths available. The skinnier unit is 64.1 inches wide, while the wider unit comes in at 72.8 inches wide. Suspension on the Villain is a dual A-arm up front and a multi-link trailing arm setup in the rear. Travel comes in at 15.6 inches in the front, while rear wheel travel comes in at 16.7 inches. Tires measure in at 29 inches, though a set of 30s is optional. Four-wheel drive on the fly is available in every single Villain, along with an automatic front locking differential. A rear locking differential is available, but it's an option. Another cool feature on this new side-by-side is the 10.4-inch smart touch screen fit in the center stack. Not only does the Villain offer all sorts of connectivity right from that screen, there's also an app on your phone that will help you monitor your machine. A couple more important specs you have to know. The wheelbase here is 102.4 inches, ground clearance comes in at 14.2 inches, while the bed box capacity is 308 pounds. There is electric power steering on every single Villain model, which has three different modes: standard, comfort, or sport, so you can adjust based on the trail. Now on to the next unit, which is the utility-focused side-by-side. Meet the Segway Fugleman. The Fugleman offers three different models, starting with the 570UH Hybrid, which uses a 570cc 4-stroke single-cylinder engine paired with that electric motor. The basic hybrid setup here makes 86 horsepower and 70 pound-feet of torque. Moving up, you can get the 1000UF model, which is gas-powered, and it uses the 1000cc engine, same as in the Villain, producing 107 horsepower and 72 pound-feet. Finally, you compare that 1000cc engine with the hybrid setup, producing 181 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. But it's a little different because here in the Fugleman, this is actually a plug-in hybrid. You're able to charge this system and then run this machine in all-electric mode. Now, Segway released a video explaining a little more in-depth on how its hybrid system works. Although, yes, I know the English and language in this isn't the best, but still, it's informative, so watch.
ERHP Extend Range Hybrid Powertrain. Extended range hybrid powertrain is composed of MG1 generator, engine, control system, accumulator battery, MG2 drive motor and mechanical drive system. Accumulator battery can be plug-in charged. It is plug-in series hybrid platform. Engine and generator are mechanically connected, so is the drive motor and the mechanical drive devices, main decelerator, differential. The fuel tank and engine are tube connected. The rest parts are cable connected.
Suspension on the Fugleman offers 11 inches of travel in the front and in the back, and it uses dual A-arms at both ends. Four-wheel drive can be activated on demand, and just like the Villain, a front differential locker is standard while the rear diff lock can be ordered. 13.8 inches of ground clearance is standard on every model, just like the set of 27-inch tires. Now, because this is a utility model, we have to talk about weights and capacity. So the curb weight comes in at 1,650 pounds for the hybrid, 1,870 pounds for the 1,000cc hybrid, and 1,684 pounds for the 1,000cc gas-only versions. Now the payload is interesting. Both the 570 hybrid and the 1000 hybrid can haul up to 1,227 pounds of total payload, with 550 pounds rated for the bed box. If you do go for the gas-only 1000cc version, that can only handle 748 pounds total and 308 pounds in the bed. Oddly enough, Segway marks towing as not applicable, although we can see a hitch in this video, so there definitely is a hitch hookup, but Segway didn't announce the numbers. And finally, let's talk about the Segway Snarler. This is Segway's entrance into the world of ATVs, and it can be had in 4 different flavors: the 570 AH Hybrid, 570 AFS, 570 AFL, and the 1000 AF. The only hybrid power plant available is for the 570 AH, and it makes 86 horsepower and 70 pound-feet of torque, while both the 570 AFS and AFL make do with 46 horsepower and 36 pound-feet of torque. Now the big papa of the bunch, well, that's the 1000 AF, and it makes 107 horsepower and 72 pound-feet in this ATV, which are pretty beastly numbers. Much the same recipe is taken for the ATV as the side-by-sides, with the front auto locker as standard equipment and a rear locker optional. Dual A-arms are offered all around, though the suspension is different on the 1000cc model, offering 7.9 inches and 9.2 inches of travel front and rear respectively over the standard versions, which have 7 inches in the front and 8.3 in the back. Dimensions for the Snarler measure up at 84.6 inches long and 60.6 inches tall, though the width differs slightly by model, with the 1000 AF sitting at 50.4 inches wide, while the other models are all 49.2 inches wide. Now, 3 different wheelbases are available, and this will explain the difference between the AFS and the AFL. The S must stand for short because this model has a 51.2-inch wheelbase, while the AFL comes in with a 57.1-inch wheelbase, meaning the L probably stands for long. Finally, you have the 1000 AF, which has the longest wheelbase of the bunch at 58.6 inches. Now that shorter S model is also the only single-seater here. The other 3 models are all 2-ups. This ATV is capable of carrying 594 pounds of payload, except for the AFS, which can only take 429 pounds. Rack capacity, though, is standard across the board, with the front able to handle 88 pounds and the rear ready for 176 pounds. In its release, Segway only mentioned the European market, so we reached out to the brand to find out if these models are coming to the US. Now, in response, Segway told TFLoffroad that they are planning a US launch and they are currently targeting January of 2020. As for pricing, well, that information wasn't released right up front, so at the moment, we're not sure what these things cost. So that's it for this video, guys. I think it's exciting that Segway is getting into power sports. The more competition, the better, and I think the hybrid powertrains being introduced are going to make other manufacturers try to look at new ways of electrifying their lineups. So make sure you go below, leave a comment, let me know what you think of these new Segway machines, and as always, hit like, hit subscribe, and then come right back here to the channel as we keep bringing you the latest news, views, and real-world reviews. See ya.